I can introduce myself, and what I'm going to speak is about Europeana and data space for cultural heritage, and especially European network associations, communities. So my background, and have my first degree was Master of Science in Software Engineering. I actually worked almost 10 years for Siemens, designing like large computer systems, but then I switched to cultural heritage, namely music research, and I did my PhD in jazz research. And I have been like almost 20 years now associate professor in ethnomusicology at the University of Helsinki. I started as the director of the Music Archive Finland already in 1997, so a long time in the cultural heritage sector. I also work part-time for partnership manager for the Time Machine organization. I'm also the ambassador in Finland for Time Machine. And what about this today's presentation? It's mainly about European. I have been a member of the Members Council of European Network Association, and also like almost 2 years now in the management board. I'm also editor-in-chief of the only archiving professional journal that is File magazine in Finland. And as a representative of either Time Machine or European, I'm working closely in quite a lot, many international cultural heritage initiatives at the moment. For instance, the Common European Data Space for Cultural Heritage, and also the other big initiative that is Cultural Heritage Cloud, the coalition, ECHOS coalition. Also, Music Archive Finland, we are a founding member of TAROC coalition, which works towards a recommendation on open cultural heritage, meaning we are aiming for a UNESCO recommendation on open cultural heritage. And also, I have been cooperating North Hub of the EIT Culture and Creativity, and also AI for LAM, which will be established organization in December. Music Archive Finland and Time Machine will be members of that. So I look at the cultural heritage from many different perspectives. Music Archive Finland, a few words. We are a small archive, but we are the main central archive. Alisa, please.
Yes, I just wanted to ask about the Europeana. The question actually came, how do you, if you can hear me well, how do you really get new organization accepted to Europeana?
The network association is individual, professional. So every cultural heritage or other professionals interested in Europeana may join as a member, but as organization there are these accredited aggregators only. That's but of course Europeana works in many initiatives, many coalitions where there are organizations, but as an organization Europeana doesn't work that way. So you have to join as an individual. I will tell more about that a little bit later.
Okay, thank you. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, so we are a central archive of music, especially like unpublished material, like interviews and demo recordings and concert recordings and music manuscripts and interviews and stuff like that. And we have been very actively involved in the cooperation of both Finnish cultural heritage organizations and international organizations and initiatives in the past few years. So about Europeana, this is our statement at the moment. We democratize access to cultural heritage data. So, like, democracy is very important for us through the cultural heritage material. So there is this Europeana.eu web service where at the moment there are like over 60 million digital cultural heritage objects, and also a little bit sound and video. The amount of 3D is going to rise very fast at the moment, because that's the main focus, I think, in many cultural heritage organizations, 3D digitization at the moment. And there are these 44 credited aggregators that collect this data and checks it, that it's okay, perhaps adds metadata, and then it's moved to the Europeana platform. So there are almost 4,000 different institutions at the moment involved. So if you want to provide data to the Europeana, you have to like select one of these aggregators and then pass your data to the aggregator, and then this aggregator passes it over to Europeana. And Europeana is actually three, we call it 3 pillars. There is Europeana Foundation with paid staff of 60 at the moment. Then there is Europeana Network Association. As I tell you, it's an association of professionals. Everyone that is interested in cultural heritage may join. It's for free, no membership fee. And then there are these 44 aggregators, credited aggregators. So Europeana started as a portal like 25 years ago, approximately, where you can like search the cultural heritage. It's metadata mainly. Then it evolved into a platform where you can share data and also reuse it. And now we are evolving to the data space context, which means that a little by little there won't anymore be only those accredited aggregators, but more and more cultural heritage organizations may share their data to the data space. But then, of course, actually, especially in these days, we need this trusted governance model so that the data that is in the data space is trustworthy. You can trust in it. Now, when there are these 44 aggregators, they take care of this. But in the future, when it's more like there will be more data providers, then we need to have this trusted governance model. Please, Alisa.
Hey, yeah, this one's from me. So the network of 6,000 people that you have, how do you actually attract more people to come and access the resources of Europeana?
That's a good question. These 6,000 people are more like some way involved in the making of the data space, like creating some guidelines or some technical documentation through these communities. I will a little bit later speak about these 7 communities of the European Network Association. But of course, especially members council and management board, we also advocate for the use of data, this European platform, and also this national and thematic aggregators. There are both national aggregators and thematic aggregators. For instance, aggregator for archive material, kind of, and photographs, and then there are national aggregators like the National Library of Finland that aggregates all the data in Finland to the European platform.
Is it completely happening online? Does Europeana do in-person events? How do you keep everybody engaged? Is it only online, or is it events as well?
There are events, for instance, Europeana annual Europeana conference this summer was in Warsaw in Poland, and it was also online, but mainly on-site event with hundreds of professionals taking part of it. And we also have some other on-site events, but these working groups and communities mainly work on online because there are people involved all over Europe, so it's not practical to travel because, for instance, I have several meetings every week, so it's necessary to have this online. But
that's an interesting point, though. I mean, you're sort of separated across what, 30 odd countries. And there's a bunch of different languages through there. How do you sort of standardize everything and make sure that everybody's able to engage and learn?
That's a good question. Yeah, the working language is English, but we are now working on more and more with providing translations to the documentation also. And for instance, I'm a chair of this new working group from shelf to data space, which work as we develop like a digitization handbook. So one of our missions is also to provide translations to other languages as English. Well, I skipped that one. A little by little, Europeana, which is now one platform with these aggregators, will evolve to this common European data space for cultural heritage, where there will be like distributed model, so not only these accredited aggregators. And as I mentioned, at the moment at least, there is emphasis on 3D because that's something the European Union is investing at the moment. So to receive funding for project, in many cases, there should be like 3D digitization present in this project. But what is important, this data space is one of the 14 European Union data spaces. So there should be this interoperability with other European Union data spaces also, so that data can be shared not only from the data space to users, but also between these 14 European Union data spaces in the future. Perhaps I could skip this slide, but data space, there is this distributed model, which is important, and also it should support data sovereignty and also like sharing and especially reusing data to foster innovation, for instance. And at the moment, because cultural heritage sector, for openness, it should be as open as possible. But then again, we are now facing these risks like this cyber attacks and AI what's the relation with the AI?
Did it already happen to you? Sorry to interrupt, but did it already happen to you? That you got?
Not, I don't know. I think not, but what can I tell is that when Europeana have this API, like to share the data, nowadays there are like AI bots mainly using those connections, so we have to like have more bandwidth, for instance, than it used to be. So now I'm moving this European Network Association, which is at the moment almost 6,000 professionals working on it. This was taking like European Network Association AGM 2018 in Vienna. It's just to show that there are a lot of enthusiastic members working together, and when it comes to this network association, we all work as a voluntary basis. We are not paid anything from the European side. It's only this foundation staff of 60 that is paid staff. We all work as a voluntary basis. And the structure of the network association is kind of combining the bottom down and bottom up and then up to down approaches. We have these 7 communities and also many task forces and working groups to get more people involved. But then there is a members council that is selected. We have a voting every 3 years, so it's a 3-year period in the members council, and every ENA member can vote, and 36 are selected, and then of these the management board of 6 is selected. So there is this management board and members council in the top, but then there are these 7 communities and many task forces and working groups to get more people involved. So for instance, in the communities steering groups, there are, I think, almost 100 people involved in those only, and then task forces and working groups.
And with that, real quick, so is one of the big goals learning? I remember on one of the slides before you had accessibility. How do you support and promote the learning aspect of the data that you have there?
Yeah, learning is one and important. I have also a slide of that. We have at the moment the European Academy that is providing learning courses for free, and also this peer-to-peer learning when we work in the steering groups and task forces and working groups. But the other aspect is really to develop something, some recommendation, technical descriptions. I have a few examples of that also. So here are the 7 communities that we have at the moment. These are also like, if you think that some network association members think that we are missing a community, they can always like propose to establish a new community if there is enough interest in that. But at the moment we have a communicators community that is like sharing information about Europeana, and impact community, education, copyright, Europeana tech, which is concentrating on tech matters, research, cultural heritage research, and climate action. At the moment, I'm quite heavily involved in these 4 of these communities. I belong to the steering group of impact community, copyright community, European tech and climate action. And I have later a few examples what these communities are doing.
Actually, Juha, would you be able to share these links afterwards with us? Because we would post this to the members of the community, of our community, to check it out.
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
I think I already said these things. So now I have a couple of examples what these communities are doing. These 4 communities that I'm at the moment in the steering group. For instance, European Tech Community, I mentioned already this from Shelf to Data Space Working Group, which is aiming that especially smaller cultural heritage organizations to give them instructions and best practice guidelines how to deliver more higher quality data and also metadata to European data space and support these organizations in their capacity building towards digital transformation. We have just started, as I said, I'm the chair of this working group, and we have this digitization handbook already available for European, but now we are like adding something to it and making these translations and also organizing some webinars or other events to promote this handbook. And then I'm also a member of this Heritage Acoustic Task Force, which is very interesting how to model like the acoustics or, for instance, some church or some other cultural heritage building. I have seen very interesting demonstrations, for instance, modeling a cathedral, like, and then a virtual core will sing the acoustics of that virtual cathedral, how it sounds, that core singing in the acoustics of a church. So I think this is something we have so far paid too little attention, because when we think about our experience, hearing is very, the soundscape that surrounds us is very important, and it's important to also like save, preserve the acoustic qualities of historical buildings. But there are also other task forces and working groups for the European Tech, but these 2 I'm personally involved at the moment. Impact community, we all know that is nowadays very important. For instance, if we want to get funding for European Union or here in Finland for the cultural heritage organization, we always have to say that we have this and this kind of impact to the society to get the funding. And European Impact Playbook is kind of quite flexible and adaptable research that helps cultural heritage organizations to like design their impact and measure it, and also very important how to tell about how to write and speak about the impact, so that, for instance, funders or ordinary people will understand what we are doing and what's the impact of it. That's online resource available for everyone. And as actually in the Music Archive Finland, we are just having this impact development project going on. We are using European Impact Playbook to like develop our impact so that we can be more impactful in the future. Corporate community, is working, for instance, with the public domain charter, which highlights the importance of the public domain. If you are not accustomed with what is public domain, it's those works that copyright protection has expired or are not qualified for copyright protection, so they are not actually over this line that they have this creative, they are creative enough to be works considered, and other objects that are not under copyright. And we want to protect that public domain so that, for instance, cultural heritage organizations, when they share these objects that are actually so old, for instance, that they're in the public domain, when they share the digital copy of that, they don't like sell it or put some other restrictions for its use, because it's in public domain. Then we think it should be like shared also openly. And finally, climate action community. We just last summer published this report, which is based on a survey and also some literature analysis about the situation, how cultural heritage organizations can be more sustainable in the future. And in this survey, we find out, for instance, that most cultural heritage institutions recognize their environment responsibility, but there aren't enough capacity in these organizations. They lack clear frameworks and guidelines and tools so that they can turn this idea of being more responsible into action. So I think it's very interesting report that's quite new, published last summer.
And in those communities, because they're obviously volunteered, how do you guys actually get everybody to come in and contribute?
Well, I think in most cases, even though it's voluntary, the organizations that these professionals are working consider this Europeana connection so important that they can use their working hours to take part of these communities or working groups. For instance, I can tell for my part that because there are very few of us from Finland taking part in this Europeana things. Besides me, almost no one. So Ministry of Education gives more money to my organization so that I can spend third of my working hours all these international things, time as in Europeana. And I think it's quite similar situation in many of these professionals. Of course, there are some that they are so passionate about this that they use their free time to take part. But I think in most cases, the organizations that these professionals are working for, they consider this international cooperation so important that they are allowing them to use their working hours for these things. And my last slide is this European Academy. So this is something that started like, was it 1 or 2 years ago? So it's kind of the new thing, and new courses are developed all the time. So there are these courses that you can follow own pace, but there are also some live instructor-led training sessions that are provided. So please visit this page because they are for free, and you also get some kind of a certificate or some proof that when you have passed this course, there are these questions you have to answer in order to pass the course. So, for instance, if you want to know what is a data space, actually there is a very good course about the basic building blocks and operational what operations are there behind a data space. So I can recommend that. But yes, I think that was my last slide. So you can always contact me if you want to know more about these things, and you can also connect me through LinkedIn.
All right, thank you. From the floor, any questions after that presentation?
Maybe about the academy, what are the most popular courses there? What are the topics of them?
Actually, I can't answer that question, but there are courses, for instance, about copyright. If you want to share data and want to know what license you should use for sharing it. For instance, if you are going to use some Creative Commons licenses, what license you should share, there are courses for that. And also IIIF, pictures, one course for that. And they are kind of connected to the Europeana, some aspect of it, but I don't know what course is actually the most popular. But please look at those and take part. And for me, when I also gone through a couple of those courses, it's very good that there are these questions, so you can test if you have really understood what there is. And if you don't pass those questions, then you should go back a little bit to study more, and then you pass those questions, so you know that you actually have understood what there is, because that's not the case in some other courses or training material in the internet that I have gone through.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I actually have a question to you around, first of all, how do you design for these different types of learners, right? Because I mean, I guess there are types of learners that are researchers that are doing very serious research around, let's say, cultural heritage, and there are those that are just browsing around. So how do you design for these different groups of people, the course content?
Yes, that's a very good question. Actually, I'm not so well acquainted about the process of this academia. There is this another working group that is containing people with different backgrounds that considering what courses there should be, and then there are some professionals working in the foundation that are then designing this pedagogical way, and then there will be some experts that provide the content. So there is this process that actually I'm not so well aware of, because I'm not so involved in that. But I think it's quite a well-defined process about that. But also, when we think about research, there is this another initiative, this ECHOS, that is creating cultural heritage cloud, that concentrating on the cultural heritage researchers, and it will provide also in the future training and other capacity building material for cultural heritage research. But that project has just started, so they're actually in the work package that is going to design some training elements for that, but we are just starting.
And do you, for the I guess for the speakers in this course, do you employ internal people or do you hire external ones? If you know.
Both. I think both. There are some Europeana people, but then there are also like external experts of that certain topic. It depends about the topic. I think we are using European experts if we have really high level, because these courses we are aiming for good quality. So we are also using external experts when necessary.
I was going to ask a question, if it's okay. And yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Thank you very much. I didn't know much about Finnish music databases, but I do now. That's great. But yeah, my question was what you were just touching on there, which is that like how you manage quality control, in terms of the courses that are uploaded to the database, but also any of the assets that go into the archive.
Yeah, that's when we talk about this training material, there is this I think there is this well-defined process, like some quality checks going on. But when we speak about the data, actual data that goes to Europeana and the data space, then there are at the moment these aggregated aggregators. It's their duty to take care of that the data is good quality. They shouldn't put that. So there is this two steps. First, the cultural heritage organization, then there is this aggregator that checks the data, and then it goes to European, and there is I think another check. So there is the levels. So for instance, Music Archive Finland, we cannot put our material directly in the European, but it should go through the national aggregator, and then the foundation stuff looks at it, and then it goes to the data space.
Great, thank you very much.
And there are these, of course, these definitions. For instance, the metadata has to align with the Europeana data, this metadata model that has been defined, for instance. So there are certain standards that this metadata has to follow in order that it will be then transferred to the European.
Brilliant. Well, look, it looks like we're on time and on budget here. So thank you so much for coming in and teaching us about that. Really appreciate it. And after this, we'll put together the recording and ship it off to you as well. But again, thank you so much for coming online.
Yeah, Juha, thank you so much for telling us about Europeana, and we will be posting the links to how to apply to Europeana after the call to the community.
Thank you, and I can send this presentation to you then.
Great, thank you. We'll see all of you.
You're welcome.
A little bit.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.